commute into New York to work. It's really a suburb of Manhattan. And so when that occurred, I mean, every town was devastated. You know, it wasn't distant. It was in the middle of it. I had friends from college that literally, I had a friend from college that literally, and we hear these stories, but a direct friend of mine from college overslept that day and didn't get to work in the World Trade Center. And, you know, from where I live, it takes about, if there's no traffic, it takes 15 minutes to get to the George Washington Bridge, maybe 13. And so I could be at the World Trade Center with no traffic in 30 minutes from my house. And so it was an unbelievable time. The sense of loss, fear, every single town in our area. We live in an area with like tons of small towns of like 7,000-8,000 people in Bergen County, New Jersey. But maybe, I don't know if it's 60 towns, municipalities. In Bergen County, it's about 900,000 people in like 60 towns-ish. And so just an unbelievable time. And so for any of you that lost someone, you know, my heart goes out in remembrance. And in a time when we are so present to division, I think that division is so easy. Well, I say that, so simple to resolve, but not easy. And it's when we begin to focus on what we have in common and not what divides us. And I will continue to maintain, and, you know, I'm not going to get political. I'm not going to get into micro distinctions, but I will debate this with any human, right? That the level of divisive rhetoric on both sides is horrific. And it's always been horrific. So let's not kid ourselves. I'm not sure if it is Plato or Aristotle or Socrates, actually, or I guess Socrates, you know, quoting Plato, that discusses, you know, this, I can't believe the kids today. I can't believe the state of the world. Things have never been worse. You know, these kids, this generation just has no idea what work is about, what heart is about, what integrity is about. And that was written thousands of years ago. So, and my kids already say those things, you know, like just, you know, the freshman class just isn't like we were. Things aren't like we were. Like, so everybody says like, it's worse now. It was better then, you know, that's just the human condition. So you can point to things today and certainly say it's never been worse. You know, we had like the stock market crash of 1929, people on bread lines everywhere, levels of poverty that were unthinkable. We were bombed and had World War II began in this nation. And we were like physically attacked. You know, we had a civil war where brothers literally were killing brothers, literally, households and families divided. We had the 1960s where people were in just absolute rebellion against systems that they said were broken. And some of those reactions, some of those roots were very true. And some of, though, what it looked like was crazy. And I will draw everybody's attention to the reality of Haight-Ashbury in the Summer of Love. My mom was pregnant with me in the Summer of Love, 1969. I was in my mom's belly as my mom and dad were heading to Woodstock in 1969. And so I would have been at Woodstock, but then the New York Thruway got so backed up and it was impossible to cross. So they turned around and went to California, which was another hotbed. You know, my dad had long hair, and I don't know if he would have defined himself as a hippie. He certainly was. You know, he was, you know, loving every bit of the counterculture movements and things that were occurring, which I think were wonderful and incredible. But in every rebellion, in every time of change, we always have to ask ourselves, you know, what does it get replaced with? You know, we went and fought Desert Storm, and we got, quote unquote, right, Osama bin Laden. I'm sorry, not Osama, Saddam Hussein. And what was it replaced with? You know, if anybody is a fan of the Rocky movies, in the movie, I'm sorry, the Rambo movies, I think it's Rambo 3. In Rambo 3, the Rambo character, Sylvester Stallone, is fighting in Afghanistan on behalf of the freedom fighters against the Soviets who were occupying, had invaded Afghanistan. And he's running around, on horseback with the Mogadishu. And these are people who are portrayed as heroes in the movie fighting for their freedom against the Soviets. And the very character that's the leader of that group looks like, and in effect, essentially is Osama bin Laden, not by name, but by character. The leader of the rebellion against the Soviets, people that were arming, fighting, Rambo's fighting alongside with and helping. And so often, the people that are the heroes and our allies, if you've ever watched a binge watching TV show, you've seen this evolve a million times, that there's all kinds of unforeseen consequences and shifting dynamics. So to take us back to Haight-Ashbury in the Summer of Love, so many young kids charged with the beautiful concepts of like peace, not war, love, right? Not having government lying to us about how the Vietnam War was going, and not breaking the law, to get elected president, and, stealing some documents out of an office, which, by the way, I'm very happy that that was discovered. But in comparison to many other things that presidents have done, he just happened to get caught pretty much in the world of presidential activities, I think jaywalking, right? And if we knew all the things that presidents do on both sides, left and right, I think we would be quite horrified and shocked, which includes, people in their administrations making deals with what we would have called drug lords who are growing heroin and things across the country and helping them make deals to sell to other countries, and all sorts of interesting behaviors that we endorse and partner with and ecosystem merge with, right? And complicated and scary world out there at times, So in the Summer of Love, right? In the Summer of Love, people go out to Haight-Ashbury. And in the last few years, my cousin lived out there. I've been out there, right? And the concept was, we're going to start a new way of life. Many communes emerged. Communes emerged like Jim Jones and Charles Manson emerged out of a counterculture. Like, we're going to create our own new world, So in 1969, this beautiful, innocent, loving vision, consistent with John Lennon's song Imagine, in many ways, imagine a world where there's no war, where there's no religion, essentially where there's no tension, stress, just peace and hanging out and chilling. Imagine what that would be like. And so, and by the way, I do love John Lennon. Okay. And so in 1969, though, everybody goes out there, and in a very short period of time, a matter of days, everybody began to run out of food and run out of money. And the streets became dirty and then filthy. And people went from being happy to hungry to tired, doing immense amounts of drugs, partying, just having no responsibility. And it degenerated very quickly into complete and utter filth, immense amounts of petty theft, sleeping in streets, and unhappiness. And so my point on this Fun Friday, right, is intense passion towards progress with immense intentionality around and this is going to come from me, which is kind of weird, moderation, balance, right? Rooting in foundational concepts, like foundational concept. The human condition is not to do nothing. Like, the human condition is not to simply satisfy all of our urges, desires, and needs in moment to moment. That is not the optimal human condition. The optimal human condition is also not to oppress, not to put people down. The human condition is to invest energy and time in something that we feel proud of and good about, and to build things, and to look in the mirror and feel satisfied, to feel certainty, to feel variety, to feel significance, pride, to feel connection, love, to feel growth and contribution. And those are the 6 human needs as defined by Tony Robbins. And when we're not meeting those needs in higher vibrational ways, and we're just fighting against things and putting other people and other things down, then there's no progress. And I am speaking of what we would define as the left and the right. And if you ask me where I am politically, I think our two-party system is substantially broken, and we need a party that is designed to create far more positive outcome, but anchored, not far from all the best of the left and the right, all the best. Because 95% of what the left believes and 95% of what the right believes is exactly the same thing. Exactly. There's about 5% of difference. And the people that lead those parties, and often people that lead movements, focus on divisive rhetoric and things that are wrong for their own personal advancement and gain, right? So any environment that you step into, any environment that I step into, I certainly see things that are suboptimal about it. Every environment I'm a part of, I have an ability to recognize suboptimal dynamics and have ideas of what could be optimized. But I'm also anchored and rooted in the concept of looking in that ecosystem of all that's great and wonderful and incredible, and honoring and loving and respecting and appreciating everything that went into it to be created. I'm part of the Bruce Springsteen ecosystem, and I honor and respect with no blame and judgment all those that criticize every concert. People will judge and analyze his concert, and they will talk about what song order they would have played and what they wish they would have heard and how they wish that moment may have been different. And without blame or judgment, I just laugh. I'm like, man, like that's cool, but how does that resonate for you? It brings questions to me of like, to feel the magic. Like, are you present? Like, are you present or just like judging and assessing and critiquing? Like, are you ever just present in the moment, or not ever? Like, how much are you present? How much energy does that take to just like critique? And if you have no control to change it, then why are you critiquing it? Like, what are you doing? Like, enjoy. What's the purpose? What's the outcome? And so all of that collectively, and the point on September 11th is to say, right, it's not peace, love, no war, no conflict, because there are people out there that want to destroy America. They want to destroy your nation. They would in the quiet recesses of their home. They want to do that. But that also doesn't mean that we have to blame, judge, stereotype, isolate, keep everybody away. But the solutions and the micro distinctions around those issues can get really complicated, all of them. Like when, and I'm going to just go like to the most inconvenient truths, right? Did you turn on your lights today? Are you on your computer today? Well, then you're contributing to the destruction of Earth. You are contributing to the destruction of the planet. But at the same time, if you don't turn it on, there's still billions of people doing the exact same thing. So there's not a palpable difference. And if you don't, it's going to affect your money, time, and magic in huge ways. That's an inconvenient truth, right? There's an inconvenient truth, as we talked about last night in the mastery call, that 99% of us have laughed at something that we're probably not proud of. We've said something we're probably not proud of, right? So, and we need to continue to grow and progress and make things better. And certain problems are larger and more pronounced and more systemic than others, at this moment. And anything that we topple and change, right? Anything we topple and change, we have to make sure we have a damn good plan to replace it that's going to be better, with people who can execute on it, that have true, integrous, higher vibrational leadership. And that's what's present for me on September 11th. And I guess finally what's present for me is I feel blessed to live in the greatest country in the world, in the history of the planet. In the history of the planet Earth, there's never been a better time to live in a better place and nation in the history of the planet. And yes, depending on how we analyze, and I am aware of facts of standards of healthcare and who arranges them and who articulates them, I get it. I get that there are micro distinctions to shift. And I get that infant mortality, the United States is perhaps not number one, and depending on who's assessing it, where healthcare is perhaps not number one. And I get that there's real complexities about how do we continue to have a nation that is driving forward, making progress, having people be responsible for their own lives, not creating enabling dynamics that harm people. My grandmother would have said that what public assistance once was when she was young, right, and they were poor, was food, literally handing people food, a bar of soap, some eggs, milk, cheese. That was public assistance. And I'm not saying I know the answers to these questions, right? But there is a place when public assistance is needed, right, and necessary for a humane society. And there's places where it's destructive and enabling for the lowest forms of harmful self-behavior. And I don't have the answers. But I do know there are issues. And I do know that, and this is not, again, about any specific person. It's certainly not about, let me name the people, Joe Biden or Donald Trump. It ain't about them. This is not about McConnell, Pelosi, Schumer, not about any of those people directly. But it's not about them, right? It's about leadership and what it looks like in a healthy way. And higher vibrational leadership does not lead in condescension. It does not lead in dismissiveness. It does not lead in judging and attacking people because they support somebody, whether that is Joe Biden or Donald Trump. And we become the solution when we realize that somebody can vote for a communist party for president of America and not be a horrible person. And somebody could vote for Donald Trump and be a great person. In fact, there are tons. And somebody could vote for Joe Biden and be a great person. And there are tons. And somebody could think we should abolish the police forces in America and be a great person. And people can think that the police are in trouble right now and are in an unbelievably tough spot and be a great person. Because all those things are actually true. All of them, right? What do you do if somebody breaks into your house? What do you do if somebody breaks into your house at night? Whether you live in Beverly Hills or Newark, New Jersey, in a tenement, what do you do? What would you do if somebody had somebody you loved at knife point and you had access to a gun? What would you do? And that's not to lead to any ultimate conclusion. That's not about the Second Amendment. It's not about gun control. It's about the realities that when we take the most fringe levels of behavior, or even the behaviors like a shark attack, and be like, I ain't going in the ocean, there's like sharks. There's like one fatal shark attack to 2 per year in each country. Australia has less than 5 fatal shark attacks per year. The capital of what we perceive to be like fatal shark attacks. So we can exaggerate and distort realities. And again, we can also say there are systemic wrongs, like women make less than men. We got to fix that. Yeah, like that's an issue. It needs to be addressed. And all the micro distinctions need to be looked at as to all of the reasons why that's occurring, including the ones that are wrong. And by the way, including ones that are beautiful and right? Like the fact that women take care of children more than men do. It's an unbelievable and beautiful thing. And there's probably at least 15 different causes to every different reality. And in case you just heard me say that the reason women make less than men is because they're moms and leave the workforce, I didn't say that. What I said was that there's 15 different reasons. And of course, that's one of them. The fact that somebody is blind, yes, they are less capable of doing certain specific functions. They can't play professional baseball, right? Like that's true. So there's things that are realities that lead to other realities. And some of them are inherently lower vibrational. And some of them are simply beautiful and positive vibrational. The fact that there's 5,000 tigers or 3,900 tigers left in the wild is painful and it's upsetting. And it's something my daughter is going to school to see what she could do about changing. And some of it is so people can eat and so people can live. And they're scared of getting eaten by a tiger. There are people that live afraid of being eaten by tigers. and have a much bigger justification for it than if they're afraid of great white sharks. And so the bottom line is that we live in like beauty and amazingness. And the worst places that we live, we're close to a lake or an ocean where we could sit in nature in the woods. And then we could recognize how that woods got smaller, which it did, and want to fix it. And we'll put that on our outcome list. But my hope, my prayer on this Friday, September 11th, is that it doesn't deprive us of the ability to still sit by that lake and feel nature and be grateful for what's there. And yeah, there's a wetland right across from my house on Long Beach Island. And there's a wetland right behind my house that was taken, right? It was taken. And I was upset. And there's people on the street that now have a beach house just like I do. And they're having fun. They're cuddling in bed. They're with their kids, making magical memories. And yet people made money from it. Sure, the developers did. But like, what's the right balance? I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that we can all sit and vilify each other, or we can love people unconditionally with boundaries and realize that we're all going to have different perspectives on certain things. But I think we all agree on fundamentally and foundationally the right things. And my challenge for everybody is to remember that, to sit today on September 11th in reflection, in love, in gratitude for courage and heroes that voted for Democrats, heroes that voted for Republicans, heroes that laughed at the wrong jokes, heroes that didn't laugh at the wrong jokes, men, women, everyone. Because foundationally, we as human beings are good. And we have disagreements. And sometimes we don't have active affirmative agreements. And we fight and get angry and get pissed off and have family feuds and feuds in all kinds of ways. But it is a beautiful and incredible nation for those that are in the US, continent for those that are in North America or in the Americas, and a beautiful world. So Fernando, final from you on this September 11th.
Thank you, Mr. Callaghy, for stepping into this beautiful energy on this faithful, fun Friday. Foundational concepts, inconvenient truths, the fringes of reality. These are integrous, forward-thinking leadership, language, and conversations, and I am grateful to be a part of them. So thank you for leading that.
Yeah. And let's go take care of our business today. You got time blocking to get to. Maybe some time blocking is to remember people and love them. And there's money, time, and magic. And we're here, and the sun is rising, and there's mountains behind me. Like, what's rising behind you and happening? I love all of you. Love yourself and your dreams. Love yourself and your dreams, and love people, unconditional boundaries. And have a beautiful September 11th. Adam Gugino, love you, brother. Entire Unblinded team, love you. Everybody in this incredible movement, love you. Incredible job. See you in a bit. Thank you.